Welcome to the 2350 Effect.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to 2350 Effect. I'm the co-host, the collaborator of the 2350 Effect, the 2350 Network, the Virtual Wellness Experience, the Professional Work-Life Balance Summit. It sounds like a whole lot. I'm Damian, Kinsey, and I'm joined as always with my partner, co-host, and collaborator, Dr. Tania Farran. Dr. Tania Farran, introduce yourself. Tell people a little bit more about you.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this Sunday. I am by day a middle school virtual principal. Been in education for 3 decades and absolutely love that. I also am the owner of Creative Living Ideas, where we host the Professional Work-Life Balance Summit, the Virtual Wellness Experience, Parent to Parent, as well as the 2350 Effect and Network. So lots of things going on for us, but all good things. We're excited to be here with you this Sunday night. Thanks for those of you that are popping in and joining us. We're happy to have you with us. Thanks, Jackie and Leslie, for joining us tonight. Oh my gosh, our topic tonight is just a fun topic for us fun but kind of serious for some people topic for us tonight, talking a little bit about the Sunday Scaries. We could have
Yes, definitely a topic that's serious, close to a lot of people. But the thing about the topic is we don't start topics without talking about a little. Hi, Linda, as well. Thanks for joining us.
You muted yourself, I think, by accident.
See, that's great. The laugh call text is that thing in the last 7 days that made you laugh out loud, call somebody, or text them. Yes, text them as well. Dr. Farran, you want to go first, or you want me to go first? Because mine's will be long.
I'll go first. That's fine. So yesterday, this is exciting news for our family. Those of you know that my youngest daughter is engaged to be married next July, and she said yes to the dress yesterday. There was a lot of laughter, a lot of tears of joy, happiness, excitement in the air yesterday. It was so fun. She is just going to be a beautiful bride. She picked a beautiful dress. So that's my laugh caller text for this week.
That is definitely a good, joyous occasion. Good, great laugh code text. Shout out to your daughter, who's a 2350 member. Congratulations on that as well. I know that's kind of a big thing. You know, without a dress, you can't have really a wedding. You know,
that's right.
If you choose not to have a dress, but that's another story.
That is true.
All right. So I think my laugh code text is. Let me see. What is it? My laugh code text, you know, we're gearing up for the virtual wellness, the professional work-life balance summit. And so many things going to the summit. There's different pieces and layers. And my laugh code text has to be the working on the summit and the reel. Felipe did a great job of sending out this cartoon characters of all of us for the work-life balance summit. But the reel is my laugh code text, and I'm going to show the reel. And go. So that was my laugh, my call text. The real is in place. We are gearing up for the work-life balance summit. Happy to have that. We've been having meetings last week, this week, and that was my laugh, my call, my text. So thank you. You're on mute now. It's your turn.
Oh my gosh. Last week we were getting ready and had our presenter meeting, and it's going to be so great. I'm super excited about it. And then today I was working on emailing some things. So I did see that, Leslie. I will send you that reel. Absolutely. I can do that for you. So I will get that to you. I thought I sent it to you today, but I must have missed you, Leslie, on that one. So anyway, yeah, let's get into our topic today about the Sunday Scaries. So I want to go ahead. Do you care if I go ahead and introduce it, Damian?
No, I would love for you to.
Okay. So here's what happened. Damian and I were having a meeting. We meet once a week, and we were having a meeting, and I said to him, oh my God, I had the craziest dream last night. It was on a Sunday night. I had the craziest dream last night. You know, I'm a middle school principal, and so my new teacher started last Monday. And so Sunday night, I had anxiety. I was worried about the day, even though I had everything ready. I just wanted to make sure it was perfect and that everybody was able to get on and log in. I was onboarding 21 new teachers, and so I was anxious about it. And I had this dream that I was on Teams where we were meeting, and a teacher took over, didn't realize she took over. She was walking through the whole house, her house. We were trying to get her to stop sharing her camera because we were getting like motion sickness from all the movement on the screen. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to get these people what they need. And I'm panicking in my dream. And by the time I get settled down, and I think I was like in my car, and then I was on a cot, like, you know how your dreams just take you all these weird places. And I woke up and I was like, oh my gosh, I think I'm having some anxiety about Monday. I told Damian, I said, I guess I had the scary Sundays. And he said, what in the world is the scary Sunday? And I said, you've never heard of scary Sundays? He said, not at all. And I said, oh my gosh, we've got to talk about scary Sundays. So in the chat, would you tell me yes or no? Have you heard of Sunday Scaries? I want to know. I need to know this information. So I don't know if it's just because I have kids that are kind of at the age where they kind of coined that term of the Sunday Scaries. I've heard it in other places.
Yeah, I never heard of it at all. Like, I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know people were scared to go to work on Sunday, dreading. I thought it was like the dread, like dreadful Mondays. That's what I used to hear it as. I guess it changed to Sunday Scaries. I didn't know it was that. So when you was like, oh, let's talk about, I'm like, talk about what? I don't know what that is. Like, do people even have that? So excuse me. So I looked on I looked it up, and it's really a thing. You know, they have like the top 5 ways to beat the Sunday Scaries. We decided to have a conversation around this, and I'm looking forward to having this discussion. And yeah, please drop in there if you know anything about the Sunday Scaries, or you know, the Monday dreads, whatever you called it, or learn to call it as well.
Love that. That is so funny. I know. Sometimes I just have the craziest dreams. It happens on the last day of vacation. You know, that is something too. Like, end of vacation anxiety is such a good point. Yeah. Sunday anxiety, Linda. Yes. Yes. Right. It really is. It really is. And so when you look it up, you know, it's a form of anticipatory anxiety. Dread or unease felt late in the weekend as a person anticipates the start of the upcoming work or school week. And some of those things, like some of the symptoms for it are like racing thoughts, worrying about tasks, and kind of trouble focusing on the present day of Sunday and what you're doing now, but really spending that time worrying and thinking about what's going to happen on Monday. And so I thought we'd spend a little time digging into it. I mean, some people can even have like physical issues with it, like muscle tension, headaches, upset stomachs, trouble sleeping. And, again, with parent to parent, this is a great topic for me to have there because, our kids have this. This is where our kids come up with real physical ailments sometimes when they're having severe anxiety and worries, to be able to, get themselves calm to handle a Sunday or a Monday. I love
Definitely.
that.
You want to talk about some of the ways to actually
Yeah,
beat
yeah.
it? All right.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the ways is, you kind of anticipate Monday's coming because Monday is coming, and the worries happen. You kind of host conversations around it, kind of like what we're doing now. We're gathering here in this space, having these conversations. We're hosting, and we're talking about the Sunday Scaries. And you started having these. Maybe you have like Sunday Scary parties, how people are watching them. You have them, and then you have these conversations and talk about the things that are going on, the things that you are, worried about work and or school, because it's not exclusive to just work. It can be school. It could be any club that you're a part of, group or whatever, and have those conversations centered around them to kind of reduce anxiety and anticipation of Monday.
Yeah, I
You
think
could
that's
be worried about a vacation. It could be also too.
it could be worried about what? I'm sorry, say that again.
You could also have like this level of anticipation about a vacation. Is everything going to go well, or you're going to go through um, checking without having to check your bags and pay more money, not losing your luggage? It could be all those things, and having those conversations and talking about it, and
Yeah,
hosting specific like groups can be a good point too.
yeah, absolutely. I love that. Linda, you're right. Working from home is so great, but I still work from home, even as a middle school principal, and I still had a Sunday scary dream. But it just was crazy. It was a virtual worry that I was going to have happen. So super crazy. I love that idea, though, Damian, of talking it out. Like communication is so big for so many people. And again, I love going back to our children, grandchildren. We've got, I'm sure, our own children, ourselves, our spouses, and just talking out how you're feeling about things is always a really helpful way for people to be able to kind of express what they're feeling instead of keeping everything bottled up inside. A lot of times I think we try to keep things all bottled up inside. So letting that go, and get that out of there. I think the other thing too, there's some things that I don't do over the weekend, on a regular basis. I'm not saying that I never do it, but I don't do it on a regular basis. I don't check my work emails over the weekend. Now, some people might say, "Oh, that would be hard for me to do, or that would be easy for me to do." But I don't. I tell my staff to text me or call me if they have an emergency. I'm happy to do that, but I'm not going to scroll through and think about all of the things that I need to be doing. I'm going to take the weekend and really just, step away from it. So for me, going through emails and things like that it's kind of stressful. It's kind of stressful for me to do that. So I also put a time frame on that. When I do check them, I won't check them so many hours before I'm going to bed. So there are occasions when if I know something's coming up with a staff member or I've asked them to email me something, I will go back in and check it. And I'm not saying I've never worked on a weekend. I have worked on weekends. I have been able, have to do some of those things. Sometimes that just is inevitable. But I really try to separate that work and my weekend so that I have that time to really just relax.
Speaking of relax, rest is also important.
Yes.
A lot of times we have such active weeks at work or at school or the external organizations, companies, or things that we do that we're connected to that we're tired during the week, and then we start trying to do a lot of stuff with family, which is outside of the home, and you're running around and doing so many things, and then you know what, you're almost done, and Sunday night comes, and now you got to go back out again. So now you spent the last, 10 straight days outside, basically.
Yeah.
And you planned originally to kind of just, decompress, catch up with rest and sleep, and you're still running, and then you're still going. So taking time to actually rest, centering yourself, and being able to take time for yourself is so important.
I love a good nap on the weekend. I mean, a great nap is always a good thing to do. I know Leslie enjoys her daily naps. She puts that in there. I want to pop up Holly Owens's comment here. Holly, thank you for joining us. I appreciate that so much. And I love that we've created a culture where overworking has become a badge of honor. Long hours are applauded, burnout is normalized, and the rest is mistaken for lack of ambition. And rest is often mistaken for lack of ambition. So thank you for sharing that with us. I think that is something that, does seem to be for people, a badge of honor. And I appreciate Dr. Rose's comment as well. I think my staff appreciates it too. If they're not getting, how can I expect them to rest and recharge over the weekend if I'm not modeling that for them? And that's the same thing as being a parent, right? If I'm not showing my kids how to rest and recharge over the weekend, my own family, my own kids, and I'm not prioritizing my own well-being, then how can I, have my kids have that model and learn how to do that? Great point, Leslie. Great point. Mm-hmm.
And then setting boundaries is a good point, Leslie. Thank you for sharing that. Leslie is a work-life balance sponsor for the professional work-life balance summit that's coming up in October 9th and 10th. You can get your tickets at creativelivingideas.com to join us for that. There's going to be so many tips going on for that as well. Dealing around, even the Sunday Scaries and days going on. And I wanted to say something, the point that was brought up about work, work is not exclusive to the place that pays you a salary.
Mm-hmm.
Volunteer work is also work too. And if you're volunteering to the point where, you're overextending yourself, that can also be contributed to Sunday Scaries as well. Because we were talking about rest. The hours do not change in a week. They don't change. Your commitment might change, but the hours do not change.
That is a beautiful example about volunteering, because think about all the volunteer positions that there are that we do that we don't really realize that maybe those are a volunteer position. I know you coached at one point in time. My husband coaches, my daughter coaches. Those activities take hours of practice during the week. They take games and tournaments on the weekends. While that's fun and that's, an enjoyable activity to do, it's also one more thing to do while you're not really resting for yourself or getting yourself prepared for the week, those types of things. So, I think it's important that we do recognize that. If you're a volunteer, some type of unpaid coach or an unpaid, Girl Scout troop, Boy Scout troop leader, those things can take additional time from you, as well as many other volunteer organizations that you might be a part of. So yeah, that's a great point. Really, really good point.
Definitely. You want to take the next one?
Yeah, I definitely want to. So one of the things that I enjoy doing is working to make my own Monday better. So if you're dreading Monday or you're dreading the week's activities, what are some of the things that you can do to make your Monday better? So I'll give you a few examples that I've done in the past. So when I was a teacher, I loved it because, I could sort of set the tone for my school day. Whether I wanted it to be silly or I was going to, play upbeat music when the kids walked in the morning that set their tone for them. I wanted the space to be calm and, caring place, a safe place for them to come to. I might decide to do a big hands-on activity with them, or maybe we're going to do some more quieter activities for that day. I could determine how I wanted to set the tone and the mood for my day when I was a teacher, and I absolutely love that. Now, being an administrator, I set myself up for success on Mondays by not hosting 8 a.m. meetings for me. I don't put them on the calendar. I don't put them on the calendar for my staff. I want to roll into the day with a little bit of ease, have some time to check those emails I didn't get to check over the weekend, And, Monday nights, I've always kind of made like my at home night. It's the first day back in the week. I might have been busy with different things. However, maybe that evening I didn't have a whole lot of things to do, or dinner was simple that night, just sort of kind of easing into the week. What are some things that you guys think that you could do on Mondays that would maybe make your week a little bit better? So just kind of changing that Monday to look forward to some time on Monday for you.
I think not overextending on Monday
Mm-hmm.
is one of them. Managing your obligations externally. For me, I make sure Monday's my day when I have a lot of 2350 stuff. So I
Mm-hmm.
make sure that my my day job and my 2350 jobs have balance to them during that day. So
Yeah.
I make sure I'm available for my commitments in both places and also family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Damian's big on making that schedule for himself on Monday so that he's got those commitments lined up. They're just routine and set in place there. Same thing with me. We kind of have our weekly meeting on Mondays, and we have other meetings on Mondays. That's kind of our big meeting day. So
I
yeah.
think you could also what you can do on Mondays is um, take lunch instead
Mm-hmm.
of a working lunch. A lot of people, try to power through and do eating lunches. Maybe taking that specific lunch break to make sure you're balancing on recharge is so important. That's something that I really don't do, but I think sometimes when I was doing that, it kind of helped me for the day, especially on long days.
Yeah. You have to take lunch, even if it's 5 minutes. You just have to.
No, I mean like the lunch break,
The
not
break.
like working through, like working and doing lunch at the same
Yeah.
time.
But
Maybe
taking a
just
break.
taking a space and like even if you can't do an hour, say I'm gonna take 30 minutes. I'm
Yeah.
gonna shut everything off and I'm gonna just sit down, eat, chew my food, breathe, think, center myself, and
Yeah.
just try to think about nothing as much.
Right. Right. Exactly. I love that. Sometimes though, James, I feel like, in response to James, feel like sometimes we put our own internal pressure on us. Even if you love your job, I was giving the example at the very beginning. I love my job, but I was anxious about making sure I had everything right on Monday, I guess, in my mind for these new teachers that were coming. And so I think it's just kind of learning how to manage that emotion, and yeah, I love that routine. Thank you, Leslie, for dropping that in there as well. Oh, that's a good one, Jackie. Giving your live as something that you're looking forward to. Yeah, yeah. It kind of brings that bright spot on that Monday. Absolutely. And yeah, Leslie, it's kind of a nice structure for you to get the carousel and preparing for your live event. Love that. Exactly. So there's some other things that you can do also that, can kind of calm you down. Like, so you think about that type of, reducing that cortisol in your body, in sort of to prepare yourself for rest or sleep, So you got to turn off the intense TV shows, the thrillers, the doom scrolling, those types of things that are increasing that dopamine in your brain, and so you have to, kind of slow that down for yourself so that you can calm down a little bit more. Look at other things that are calming. I'm going to tell you, this is so funny. You guys, I the other night just said, I think I need to start watching Three's Company again. Do you guys remember that show, Three's Company? So I watch like 30 minutes of that before I go to bed. And it's just silly slapstick, nothing stressful, gets me in a good mood. I have a couple of chuckles and then I go to bed. And it's probably not even a 30-minute show. It's kind of been my latest thing to do before bed.
You know the funny part about it, I think, like reading some of these things and thinking about it is like it's like for me it's like a capsule in my career. Like I know James when I used to do the 3-4-5 when I was the master of the 3-4-5. He'll tell you like he used to be like, "Yo, when did you sleep?" Like, and thinking about the Sunday Scaries and thinking about um, kind of working through that process, a lot of that stuff was on Sundays, and then going into Monday, then Tuesday, then Wednesday, Thursday, and it just kept repeating itself and going through the process overall. So, you know,
I just am going to say, I'm proud of you, Damian, because, when I met you, you were the king of the 3-4-5. And you were pretty adamant about the 3-4-5, and I feel like, since we've been kind of putting on these events, we've both been learning some really great strategies to incorporate into our lives, which have really helped us balance our lives. And I would think so, Christy. Yeah. Yeah, it's 3, 4, 5 hours of sleep. Damian said, I can master it. I can live on that. And we were all like, Damian, you cannot do that. That is so bad for you.
I did it for years. It was like normal for me, I guess. Like, but now looking back on it, like, I guess my Sunday Scaries is not having more than, not having being on that 3, 4, 5 hour sleep level, and I don't never want to go back to that.
Right, right. Another thing that is a tip for people also to do is to, not go through and compare your weekend to somebody else. So those of you that like to be on social media, and a lot of us we're on social media right now. So you're on here watching this for us. We appreciate that so much. But everyone's posting, I said yes to the dress, or I went to this party, or I went to this game, or I went to this concert. And maybe you stayed home that weekend. Do not control, or do not compare yourself with other people's social media, what they're doing, and that's a really big stigma, I think, for people who are younger also, really comparing and saying, wow, I'm kind of depressed now, or I'm sad I didn't have as much of an exciting weekend as I thought that I would, because so-and-so is doing something else and living through them, so really making sure that we are paying attention to that.
I think that's definitely a good point. Like competing with someone else's life, and then I think sometimes when we look at social media, like we're looking at someone's vacation, or
Yes.
we're looking at someone's downtime moment, and that's a part of their lifestyle, but we're trying to compare or trying to like keep up with it, and sometimes we even look past our vacation moments, we look past our lifestyle moments, and then some people are just, their job is to document their life, like when a lot of times when people are like, oh, this particular actor or actress, they're in this physical shape and whatnot, it's their job to look like that. Part of their job for their
Right.
movies, their contracts, is to do certain things like we love, like we can both agree we like pizza. Like they can't eat pizza.
No.
Or it's like once a year, if anything. So, looking at that and not competing with people, competing against yourself is so important.
Mm-hmm. I do agree. And I feel like, people do that. And a lot of people, like you said, they're looking at a snapshot of their life or of their weekend. That was one day, that was 4 hours, that was an event, something like that, and so not really comparing yourself to that. Aw, well, that was nice.
All right.
That's
So,
exciting.
go ahead.
No, I just said that was exciting, Jackie. I'm glad that you made some new friends.
Yeah. It's always good to like take time and have fun and enjoy like
Mm-hmm.
life. So many things that you can do, like just get outside, get air. I cooked out this week. I barbecued with my family this week, so that was
Nice.
something that was just relaxing, cool. Got outside and just kind of relaxed.
That's always good. I'm glad to hear that. That is always good. I did the same. We had a good day yesterday. Another thing, you got another tip, Damian?
Yeah. This isn't on the agenda. Kind of find things that make you happy.
Yeah.
You know, I talked about this a while ago. Like when you we're so busy having to pay so many different things, and all of those things are contributing to us having a healthy life balance, overall quality of life. But we forget at least one time a week to kind of, or 2 weeks, whatever your pay cycle is to pay yourself and do something for you. Another thing that you can kind of dread with the Sunday Scaries is, doing something for you or planning as a reward of going through the week without stress and anxiety is giving yourself a reward for the
Mm-hmm.
week. It can be simple stuff. Is like if you're someone who likes, um, acai bowls or fruit salads or M&Ms or Doritos, or you like going to the movies, as a reward for getting through and not having a stressful week, rewarding yourself at the end of the week.
Mm-hmm.
What
It
do you?
is true. Yeah, no, I agree with that. I feel like, sometimes for me it's taking time. So today when I woke up, it was absolutely beautiful out. I slept in a little longer than I anticipated, which is okay. And I got up and had my coffee outside. It was a little cool. It was beautiful. We love to drink coffee outside. And I'm telling you, I was sitting there and I was gonna like my plan in my mind was to go to the gym later today. And then I was like, it's so beautiful. I have to go take a walk right now. Like I just couldn't wait any longer. I just wanted to just soak up this beautiful weather that we have right now and took a really nice walk. And came back and enjoyed it, and then finished the rest of my day and had a nap today and relaxed and, enjoyed a good show. And just kind of sitting there, just relaxing today. So it's always good to do. Oh, I love that, James. I love that. Finding something for yourself to do. That's a great thing. There's an 8 p.m. rule here. That's another thing for you to think about also. And everybody's might be a little bit different, right? So you could propose that no checking emails after 8 p.m. or no watching thriller sci-fis after 8 p.m. Drop in the chat, what is your no after 8 p.m. for you? What is it going to be? I can't work out after 8 p.m. I can't drink caffeine after 4 p.m. I can't, what is going to kind of reduce my anxiety that I need to stop after 8 p.m.? What is something that you guys are thinking that would be good for you to kind of help reduce that anxiety, lower the cortisol in our body, and get us more prepared for rest and sleep? While you're thinking about what you might want to drop in the chat, another thing that's a really good, helpful thing is the Professional Work-Life Balance Summit. This is a really great thing for you. I'm telling you, Damian and I, our lives have improved so much just in the last 4 years. This is our fourth one that we've put on. In the last really 3 years, we've put on four. And so many great things have come from it. Connections, tips, things like that. But this is on Creative Living Ideas website. You can go there and click your tickets here if you want to grab some tickets. But let me show you. Oh, these two people. This is from when we met in person at our networking, and photo creds goes to Jackie. Thank you, Jackie, for taking this great picture of Damian and I and finding just the right spot and right background for us. For this great picture. We love this picture. And our amazing presenters that are here with us. We've got a few in the audience here. But this is just a great group of people who are going to be talking about work-life balance topics for us. And here's all of their names listed below. And then we've got two panels of speakers that are going to be joining us. This one's going to be on your mental health to mental resilience. And it is a panelist of therapists. And so what experts, what great experts we have to help us figure out what do we need to do differently in our life to help us, not have these Sunday scaries or not have us, be stressed out about the upcoming work week. And then also these amazing panelists finding balance between our day job and entrepreneurship. They, some of them are 2350 network members. Some of them are just our connections on LinkedIn. So that we have just and they're just amazing. All of these have successful entrepreneurial jobs as well as day jobs, or have had day jobs while running their entrepreneurial business. And then there's 3 ways to participate. If you still want to be a sponsor, you could be a sponsor. We are not taking any more presenters, but if you're interested in being a presenter for something else, you can still fill out the form. We can check it. We have other things that will be coming soon. And if you want to be a vendor, so if you have a product or something that you want to show, you can let us know with that. And we've got our gold sponsor here is Leslie Flowers from Leslie Flowers Enterprises. And she is one of our moderators for our panels, as well as our gold members level sponsor for this event. So you can check her out on Mondays at, I believe it is 10 a.m. Central Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Time for Mind Over Matter Mondays. And then on Fridays, Think and Grow Rich. And that is the same time on Fridays as well. So check out her lives. We've got 2 bronze sponsors. We've got Jamie Rockymore Best from Helpful Living Magazine, as well as Nicole and Jai Galindo from Guiding Brilliant Writers. 2 amazing ladies who work very hard to publish really helpful publications for our whole community. So check both of them out. Helpful Living Magazine puts out a monthly magazine, I believe. Maybe it's quarterly. I don't remember. Damian, is it quarterly?
It's bi-monthly.
Bi-monthly. Thank you. Bi-monthly magazine. And then Nick, if you're looking to be a published writer, you want to publish your own book, be a part of one of our anthologies, any of those things, reach out to her. And then, of course, our date is October 9th and 10th. You can also check out some of the testimonials from the people that have joined us. Get your tickets, watch our great video again of our amazing presenters, and come join us for the Professional Work-Life Balance Summit in October. We are excited to have you come join us. You can go to creativelivingideas.com for this information.
Thank you so much for that. And the link is also in the chat.
Yeah.
Get your tickets, get your organization and company to pay for it.
Yeah.
It's a great event.
Okay, so some people were dropping in while we were doing that. What are the things that they're going to not do after 8 p.m. anymore? Not do after 8 p.m. anymore. And I love this. So Christy said, after 8 p.m. it would be no stacks. Thank you, Jocelyn, for joining us. Leslie, eating. Yes, I know. I really got to stop that too. No murder shows after 8 p.m. Good idea, Christy. I love that. Good point. Good point. These are all great ideas to kind of help calm yourself a little bit down. Damian, do you have anything that you don't do before you go to bed to kind of keep yourself ready for sleep?
Maybe I don't know. Maybe try to just get enough rest and drink water. So I'm not so necessarily not do, but do is drink water, a lot of water. Stay hydrated.
Yeah. I like to get things ready too, so the more, like when I was going in person, I would pack my car the night before on a Sunday night, whatever I needed to bring to work. If I had, extra bags or folders or things like that I needed to get prepped for work, I would maybe stock my car off in the morning. I always love to prep my coffee the night before so that I'm, I love to wake up to the smell of coffee, have it ready to go. Just some of those types of things to get myself prepped for the week. Prepping lunches is always a thing that I've enjoyed doing for myself as well. Kind of helps me eat healthy and, be ready. So I'm not grabbing something that I don't really want to consume. That's an important thing for me to do as well. All right, guys, the other thing that you guys can do is basically do a brain dump. So if you're feeling anxious, you're feeling overwhelmed, and it doesn't even have to be about Monday. It could be about the way the whole week is going to be. It's going to be a busy week. How do I get that out? Damian talked about at the very, very beginning. We'll recap. He talked about communication, but you could definitely do a brain dump. You don't have anybody to talk to. You live by yourself. get yourself a journal of some kind and do a brain dump and just write everything down that is on your mind. A lot of people I've heard keep like a notepad or a notebook next to their bed because once they doze off and they wake up with that, oh my gosh, I forgot about you've got a pen and paper, you could write it down and go back to sleep. Put that away for now and just kind of go back to sleep with that, relax a little bit more. You can also do what's called a worry jar. I don't know if any of you have heard of a worry jar before, but you can grab a jar of some kind, pick it out, and you can write on pieces of paper the things that you're worried about, and you could just drop them in the jar and then close the lid on it. And that worry jar kind of keeps away those scaries, right? It's kind of encapsulated inside that jar to keep you from, and keep you from being so worried, gets it off of your brain, and maybe it's not ruminating so much through your brain. The ideas aren't bouncing back and forth. You've got it listed down. So think about maybe doing and dropping in a brain dump of some kind.
That's a good one to brain dump. Try to get as many thoughts out as possible, which is kind of good. I like how Chrissy was talking about not like listening or watching murder shows. Don't listen to murder podcasts.
Right.
Maybe you stop the evening news at 6 p.m.
Yeah.
instead of the nightly 10, 11 o'clock news. Those things are so important as well. Maybe turning off social media, especially stuff that has, news topics in it. Those things can possibly be great as good brain dumps. Maybe sitting in silence prior to, with everything turned off so the thoughts can float through your head. Meditation could be a good one as well. Centering yourself and meditating, drinking water. That's always a good one. And breathing exercises and slowing your heart rate down. Those are good ones to kind of go through the process because you don't want your brain being flooded with so many things that are going on. And then anytime your brain goes towards, the task and responsibilities that you have to do for the week, try to shift it towards something fun or funny. That's kind of like how we do Laugh Call Text in the beginning to kind of center the show on, there's so many things that are going on that are funny. There are communication connections between text messages or phone calls to kind of center that, life is life and, being happy is so important.
Well, and I have a really busy week coming up this week. And so I've been thinking about this myself. I love all of those tips, Damian. I think they're all good. I think they're all relevant and they're all good. I've been thinking about some of this too for myself this week. What can I take off of my plate? I've got a lot between social events, work events, and going out of town next weekend. How can I manage all of this and handle that? And sometimes that brings us anxiety. Like you were saying, our social events can also bring us anxiety or worry about the upcoming week, giving us Sunday Scaries. So what are some things that you can take off of your plate? And it's a low impact of you, so I'll give you an example. So when I play my golf night on Wednesday nights, I always stay after and eat dinner. And I grab something from the pro shop and sit with the ladies and eat dinner. And I decided this week that as while I love that fellowship with them and that time with them, I think I'm going to refrain from that because I need to come home and get some things ready for the next night of what I'm doing. And so I think that will help me balance what I need to get accomplished and keep me not feeling so stressed about it. So just little things like that, just to help you, what can you take off that's a little bit here and there, to get yourself back down to a level?
That's definitely a good one too. Taking time to not do the same routine
Yeah.
and kind of interrupt your routine because time wise it's not serving this week.
Yes.
That's definitely a good one. Figuring out if you have to leave from an event early, or if you have an event to go to and it's 3-hour event that maybe you just go for the 30 minutes and leave.
Right.
People are like, are you leaving? I have to because I have other things to do. I wanted to come and show support for you, and I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to show up, but I did not want to like just not show up. So my balance to it is this. The same thing we were talking about with Leslie's, like drawing boundaries. The boundary is, the expectation the unwritten expectation that I have to come here for 3 hours for this particular social event, but really I'm only going to stay for half an hour and use the other 2 hours and 30 minutes to, hour for travel and the other hours for rest and relaxation.
Right. Yeah. It is true. So really looking at that calendar and kind of giving it an overview of the week of like, what do I have? Where can I kind of skim back to give myself some time back? I could be an overbooker. I'm guilty of being an overbooker. And, then I have to scale back and say, how can I manage this? How can I make this work? And I don't know about you guys, but I am booked out to like, I don't know, socially to the end of October, and so it just happens. And I enjoy it, but it happens. I can get booked up pretty quick. But I have to really be mindful of the time that I am still giving to myself during that.
You're booked out to the end of October. Nice.
It is fun. It is
probably
fun.
November, more like.
What'd you say? You're November?
No, you're probably more like November then. If you
I
think it's the end of October, the
You're
retreat the first week in November.
You're right. I do have through November. You're right. I do.
Yeah.
But it's okay. I love it. I can't wait. We do have a retreat coming up for the 2350 network. So that is something, if that's something you're interested in learning more about, reach out to Damian or I. The 2350 network is something that we love doing. We enjoy our members. We have a great time. You can go to 2350network.com and join us. We are having a retreat in St. Augustine, Florida this year. So we'll be doing that the first weekend in November. So we're really excited about that. I'm laughing at Leslie's comment. You and me both, Leslie. You and me both.
And if you're not following us on the 2350 Network LinkedIn page, follow us on the 2350 Network LinkedIn page. Follow us on the Creative Living Ideas YouTube page to get more information, get all these live events, and also get updates. And also become a member at 2350network.com.
Yes. Absolutely. This has been a fun conversation. So did you all learn more about Sunday Scaries? Learn more about how to manage those Sunday Scaries? That was our goal for tonight.
Drop in the chat comments.
Yeah, we've got great comments in the chat. So great comments in the chat. So if you've got somebody who's experiencing Sunday Scaries, send them this link, have them take a look at it, go through the chats on LinkedIn. They are great. Or even going through this video, you'll see the chats. If you're not on LinkedIn, you're on Facebook or you're on YouTube, you can still see all the comments that came up. We're happy that you joined us today. This has been fun.
Yeah, the last thing is what is one non-work thing you can look forward to?
Yeah.
So figuring out what that non-work thing that you can look forward to is so important for tomorrow. So Monday isn't going to be an all day thing at work. So what is that one thing that you can look forward to?
Well,
Also,
and it is true. And I love that, Leslie. Those are two great questions. Why can a busy week be looked at as an exciting week rather than one of dread? I love that comment and thought. It is great. Like, it's a flip of the brain, right? It's thinking differently about that week. And why do we dread Mondays rather than look forward to them? And that was another thing that I did with my staff on Mondays about 2 years ago. I made sure that we talked about Mondays as a positive, and looked forward to what we had going, that we had the ability to be with our kids, our students, the ability to teach our kids, like, exciting. So I love that.
I had a coworker I used to work with in DC, and he'd be like, I'll be like, hey, good morning, how are you? Like, how's your morning? He's like, oh, I can't wait until Friday. And I was like, today's Monday. He's like, oh, yeah. He said, what about you? I said, every day's Friday for me.
Yeah.
Every day that I get an opportunity to do what I love or be able to open my eyes is Friday to me. So, and I will always say that to him, like, if you like, today's Monday and you like, I can't wait until Friday, you gotta start reevaluating stuff and start looking at perspective, and that's kind of like that comment that I always say that it's always somebody that's willing to trade places with me. And it's always somebody that's willing to trade places with anybody in the world. So I'm grateful for whatever I have. So every day is Friday to me.
And that's a mindset shift for people. I love that, Damian. That is a wonderful mindset shift for people to go from dreading. And most people, right, that's how we've been trained to approach Mondays, is by looking at things as dread, like, oh, it's Monday, oh, back to the grindstone, things like that people come across with that mental state. But really, we really should feel blessed that we have a job to go to. That's a beginning thought. This is a great place for me to go, and I get to be here, and I get to work with these people, so I love that. My sunshine's coming through me again.
Yeah. So,
a little bit.
Yeah, that's why it's probably not really hard for me to actually get up. Your spirit, your faith, is a good one as well. Thanks for sharing that, Dr. Rowe. It's not really hard for me to get up, so,
Me either. It's really not. My husband and I are celebrating our 35th wedding anniversary next week. And our kids are taking us out to dinner on Tuesday, which is really sweet of them. And then I have golf on Wednesday, and we're playing, it's kind of like the version of the Ryder Cup. It's called the Solheim Cup. It's for women. And so we have that on Wednesday, and Thursday I have book club with my girl.
That moment disrupt over 23 hours and 50 minutes of your day. The 2350 network. It is time to bring people together. Christy said waits in the room.
Awesome.
Nice.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us this Sunday. We'll be back next Sunday. We look forward to seeing you. I hope you have a wonderful week. Thanks for joining us this evening. Take care.
Show the real.